What's good, everybody? This is CP, and today I'm going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to deep dive into a few potential free agent targets GM Ken Holland might go after this summer to help improve his team. Heading into next season, one area of the roster the Oilers might be looking to improve on is definitely goaltending. For one, we know for sure that Mikko Koskinen isn't coming back, as it is confirmed that he signed a contract over in Europe. And secondly, Mike Smith's situation is uncertain. But let's assume that he is coming back. This still leaves the opportunity for the club to bring in one new goalie, unless they do decide to promote from within and bring up a name like Stuart Skinner and make him a full-time NHL player. Obviously, time will tell, but let's assume that they run it back with Mike Smith and decide to give Stuart Skinner a little bit more time to develop his game in the minors. So with that in mind, the Oilers will probably be hunting for a new goalie in the free agent market. So let's look at some of the top free agents they might be able to go after. And in my opinion, some of these names can significantly help the hockey club to take the next step forward and build on a strong season. Let's quickly look at the free agent market for goaltending. And I'm not gonna lie, but the goaltending market is very, very dry this year. So if anything, it seems like teams that are looking for a goalie are likely competing for the same names. And in my opinion, there are not a lot of elite names in the UFA goaltending market. So luckily for those goaltenders entering UFA, this is actually a pretty good offseason for them to be a free agent. To start, I really like a name like Jack Campbell, and personally I think he should be one of the top goalies for the Oilers to go after. If you've been reading the rumors in the news, it seems like the Leafs are not close to extending Campbell or bringing him back. And as much as they like to, like the past several off seasons, their cap space is going to be a huge concern. Campbell was playing on a bargain deal at only $1.65 million last year, but based on his performance alone, I feel like he could easily get over $3 million. Actually, I think it may be closer to something over $4 million on the open market, as I wouldn't be surprised to see someone overpay for his services. He is coming off a career year with 31 wins in 49 games and a very respectable .914 save percentage. Jack Campbell was also a huge reason why the Leafs were able to have such a strong regular season, finishing second in the Atlantic Division, and yes, even ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Campbell is 30 years old, but considering how little mileage he has with only 142 NHL regular season games, I feel like he still has a lot of good hockey left in him. And in many ways, I feel like he might be the perfect guy to bring in and give Edmonton the goaltending boost they need to take their game to the next level. At the very worst, I think he's still an upgrade over Mikko Koskinen and can likely come in and be the starter from day one. Contract-wise, I think the Edmonton Oilers definitely has a little bit more money to offer than the Maple Leafs. And if Holland believes Campbell is the guy, I wouldn't be surprised to see him overpay for him just a little bit in order to solidify his goaltending. Because he did miss out on Markstrom a few years ago, and I think he wants to capitalize on McDavid and Draisaitl's prime. So upgrading goaltending seems like the next logical move for Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, Jack Campbell will have a lot of teams after him, but Edmonton does have a history of successfully signing ex-Leafs players, including Zach Hyman, Tyson Barrie, and Cody Ceci. From afar, it seems like they really like playing for the Oilers, so maybe they could put in a good word for Jack Campbell. And for Oilers fans, this might give the team the slight edge they need to help Campbell's decision to potentially sign in Edmonton. Ville Husso is another name that has been linked to the Oilers quite a bit in the rumors recently, and Husso is coming off a pretty good season, going 25-7-6 with a 2.56 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. Husso did had somewhat of a breakout year, but like all goalies, he had his ups and downs. Nonetheless, in my opinion, he still looked pretty decent and has potential to be a starting goalie in the NHL someday. Compared to Jack Campbell and everyone else on this list, Husso is the least experienced with only 57 games under his belt, but at the same time, he's also one of the younger free agent goalies in the market out there at only 27 years old. Given his limited sample size, Husso might be the riskiest play compared to most goalies in the free agent market. In my opinion, giving him a long-term deal could go both ways. He could either pan out really well and break out into his prime as a starter, or just flop and show that he's not a legit number one goalie after a mini breakout season last year. At any rate, based on what we have seen so far, I feel like he still can be a very solid 1B option, or at worst one of the best backups in the league. Obviously, to me, Campbell is the safer choice, but if they miss out on him, then Husso may not be a bad consolation prize. If it's Husso and Smith next year, I feel like Husso can be an upgrade from Koskinen. Also for him and his career personally, I think signing in Edmonton will give him a great opportunity to prove to the league that he is a legit #1 NHL goalie. Moving on, a name like Darcy Kuemper might be another worthwhile target for Ken Holland. Kuemper is probably the most proven player on this list, and when healthy, he's a legit #1 goalie in the NHL. His career numbers are very good. He has over 150 career wins and is coming off a very solid season with a .921 save percentage. On the other hand, we can't forget that he might also be the most expensive. Getting Kuemper probably isn't going to be cheap, as he's finishing off a 2-year deal at a 4.5 cap hit. But given his success with the Avalanche this year, helping them make the Stanley Cup Finals, I think there's a chance that he's going to go in the free agent market and ask for even more money. Compared to the rest of the free agent pool for goalies at least, he might be the #1 prize in the market this summer. So the chances of the Oilers getting him might be a little bit harder than the other names. Kuemper is also 32 years old and is a little bit injury prone. So there's definitely risk if the Oilers do give him a long-term deal. I feel like he should be fine in years 1 to 3, but things could get really ugly from year 4 onwards, as he'll be 36 years old by that time. Besides those 3 goalies, other sleeper names may include a guy like Scott Wedgwood. To me, he's more of a tier 2 or even tier 3 free agent to sign. Interestingly, he has a career save percentage of .906, and I would say those are okay numbers, especially since he played on some horrible teams the past 2 seasons. Wedgwood is 29 and does have over 70 games of NHL experience, so in my opinion, he shouldn't be too overwhelmed given more playing time in Edmonton. I'm not sure if bringing in Wedgwood will improve the Oilers' goaltending that much, but the pros of signing Wedgwood is that he's a lot more affordable than the other 3 names and might be a good goalie to use until Stuart Skinner is fully ready to take over an NHL job. Another sleeper free agent goalie the Oilers could target is Casey DeSmith of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He is arguably one of the better backups available out there this year, and he has averaged a .91 save percentage over the past 4 seasons, so definitely the consistency is there. From what I've read, the Pittsburgh Penguins seem to really like him, but I'm not sure if they have the money to bring him back. DeSmith is coming off a 3-year contract with an average cap hit of 1.25, and since the goalie market is kind of soft this year, there's a chance that someone is willing to give him a big raise and a bigger role in the NHL. I think it might be a stretch for him to come in and be a bona fide #1 goalie in Edmonton, but it might be fair to say that his role is maxed out in Pittsburgh playing behind Tristan Jarry. If the Oilers do strike out on bigger names, then I think goalies like Wedgwood and DeSmith might be very, very solid plan B or plan C options to bring in for a few years. The risk level shouldn't be too high, and like others on this list, the Oilers might be a good landing spot for DeSmith to get a bigger role and prove his worth in the NHL. Yeah, so let me know if you agree or disagree with what I said in this video. Feel free to comment below and share some of your thoughts, and I'll see everybody next time.